continue. Well, the Sanibel Lighthouse will soon be open to the public again. That's good news for those of us who love this place. It's been months since we were able to actually walk on the beach and enjoy the water right near the historic lighthouse. But starting tomorrow, that all changes. This beach is the last of the public access areas on the island to reopen. Talk about progress. 9 months after Ian blasted our coasts. And Fox 4's Colton Chavez is on the beach. Colton, there is a lot of anticipation for this opening. I'm one of the people that can't wait.
Ton of anticipation, exactly, Shari, and we saw lines of people all here on this street today, and they were all trying to get into the beach, and they kind of ran into what you're seeing here, which is those road closed signs. But good news for people, FWC employees out here today told me that they're going to start removing all of this signage early tomorrow morning, and it's right here at this entryway where the city of Sanibel is going to have a ribbon cutting that's going to be tomorrow at 9 a.m. Now, right now, I'm told the fishing pier and the bayside lots, those are going to be the only two that will remain closed as the island continues essential repairs. Now, earlier today, I caught up with Sanibel Mayor Richard Johnson, and I asked him what reopening areas like the Lighthouse Beach could do for local businesses still struggling after the storm.
I was speaking with a business owner that's on that end of Periwinkle, and I told him, I said, you did hear about we're going to reopen the beach on Friday morning. He said, I am so excited about that.
And a lot of people on the island are excited about the reopening as well. We saw a line of cars out here today, all hoping to catch this entryway open to the public. But just like me, they were early getting here today, just like that car that you just saw. But it also brought up a good question, because I even ran into traffic on my way out here tonight. I asked Sanibel Mayor, I said, is this area of Sanibel ready to handle the amount of traffic that this beach could bring with it? I'm working on that part of the story when I see you on Fox 4 News at 6 o'clock. But for now, live on Sanibel Island, Colton Chavez, Fox 4.
You can now claim your piece of a $23 million settlement with Google. This applies to anyone who searched on the site and clicked on a link between October 25th, 2006 and September 30th, 2013. You'll have to go to the website referheadersettlement.com to file your claim. You can scan the QR code on your screen to get there. Expect to get around $8. You have until the end of July to file.
Being on a first-name basis with your bank teller isn't as common as it used to be. The biggest commercial banks in our country use what are called chatbots on their websites or apps to communicate with customers. This is what we're talking about, those little pop-up boxes that appear on a website. They're computer programs, many of which use artificial intelligence to simulate a conversation with you. And the data shows people are using them for help with banking. Research company Insider Intelligence reports last year, almost 40% of Americans, or 98 million, have interacted with the bank's chatbot, and that number is only expected to grow. Some people find it helpful for things like checking your account balance, transferring funds, or even getting reminders to pay your bills. We're also seeing some issues though. People are filing complaints about these bank chatbots with the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, or CFPB. They're saying when they had more complicated financial issues or questions like how to resolve a debt collection notice or how to deal with a credit dispute, they felt these chatbots wasted their time and gave them inaccurate information.
People were so frustrated that they were getting trapped in these sort of circular, confusing conversations when they just really needed a straight answer. Financial firms have obligations under the law to give those straight answers and to be able to, even in a complex situation, be able to describe to a consumer what's really going on.
It may be more time consuming, but you can always drive to your bank if you need more of that one-on-one interaction. And if you can't get a straight answer either in person or with a chatbot, you have that option of filing a complaint with the CFPB. Just scan this QR code on your screen with your cell phone and it'll take you to consumerfinance.gov.
about living here is there are a number of ways to get involved in our community, and that includes helping to keep it clean. The United Way of Lee, Hendry, and Glades held its annual Day of Action. So that means volunteers got to work this morning cleaning up a preserve near the Sanibel Bridge, as you can see here, also tackling some hurricane debris as well. All of this in partnership with the Sanibel Captiva Conservation Foundation. Now, if you find that the stress of getting your home or property back together, or even with just processing all that Ian brought less than a year ago, there is a service that can help you or someone you know. It's called Project Hope. It's a weekly support group. There's no registration required, and you can remain anonymous, and it is free. The group meets today and next Thursday, so they already met. They meet at 1:30 to 2:30 at the Charlotte County Family Service Center. Again, you can go next Thursday if you'd like to check it out, and you can find details on our website, fox4now.com.
For many of us, the summer months are now here. That means boating, lakes, beaches, pools, childhood swim safety, a big focus for a lot of parents and families this year. We're at Akron Children's Hospital in Ohio. We're gonna go inside and they're gonna show us why something as simple as your child's swimsuit color can make a world of difference for their safety. Hi, nice to meet you. Thanks for taking the time and helping us organize this.
Heather.
Hi, Heather. I'm Dan.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
Heather Trunka is the Injury Prevention Supervisor at Akron Children's Hospital. She and Casey Newman were kind enough to take us to their rehabilitation pool to show us why swimsuit color is such a big deal when it comes to protecting your kids.
Drowning doesn't look like what it does on TV. Kids aren't splashing around, yelling for help. They're bobbing right at the surface level.
Drowning is the leading cause of death for children ages 1 to 4. It is also the second leading cause of unintentional injury death for children ages 5 to 14. A recent analysis from Akron Children's Hospital and Alive Solutions shows how spotting your kids quickly by choosing brightly colored swimsuit colors can save their life if they are in need of help.
When we choose a swimsuit colors, those bright colors are really what we want to focus on. So the light pinks, the light blues, and the whites almost completely disappear.
Even white?
Even white especially is almost invisible in a pool.
This is the diagram from Alive Solutions. You can see the orange, yellows, and reds can be seen most easily when submerged only 18 inches underwater, but the whites and blues were not.
You want me to agitate?
Agitate. Once you agitate the water as if kids were playing in it, it can make some of the swimsuits nearly invisible.
When we talk with parents about water safety when they're really little, is we want to make sure that they're always being watched. If a child goes missing, the first place we should look is a body of water, because kids are drawn to the water.
According to Hackensack Meridian Health in New Jersey, a child can drown in as little as 20 seconds, the time it takes to get up and get a towel. It's why keeping a close eye on your child whenever they're in the water is critical, and picking a swimsuit color that makes them the most visible only helps with keeping your kids safe. Dan Grossman, Scripps News, Akron, Ohio.
And we start with Fox 4 News at 5 right now. We are tracking a severe crash that has I-75 southbound shut down between Corkscrew Road and Alico Road. You can actually see people turning around actively in the median. Obviously, this is something dangerous and not advised, but we are seeing complete gridlock right now. This backup extending 7 miles right now on I-75. We're not sure how many vehicles are involved, but again, this is directly between Corkscrew and Alico Roads. If you are traveling southbound on 75, please try to limit any activity. If you can, maybe take 41, or in this case, you can see these cars turning around trying to find a different route. So this is to the south of RSW, but obviously a bad situation. We start to see this accident, this backup occur just before the 5 o'clock hour. And here's a different perspective right now. They have all lanes currently shut down heading southbound. So if you are trying to say head toward Estero, this is about 5 miles to the north of Estero. We are seeing this setup, and also even heading northbound, you can see just how jam-packed it is right now. So very big slowdowns currently on I-75. And again, this is between Corkscrew Road as well as Alico. And here's what it looks like here on our traffic maps. And you can clearly see all of that purple. Purple means entirely shut down. It's not moving whatsoever. But if you look at the northbound lanes, you're seeing a lot of red, even extending down toward Bonita Beach Road. So we're certainly seeing some slowdown, seeing some big impacts this afternoon on 75. Again, my advice, definitely try to stick to 41 for any travel this afternoon and evening. Meanwhile, right now, radar nice and quiet for the most part as we look live from the Luminary Hotel across the Caloosahatchee River. Just some fair weather cumulus clouds outside. But overall, conditions close to the coast on the quiet side. Tons of sunshine. From Sarasota, Charlotte, Lee into Collier counties, you have to head farther inland toward the lake. That's where we do have those storms, exactly as we expected yesterday on Fox 4 News at 5 and 6. This is what we were anticipating because of those westerly winds picking up. So to the east of Palmdale, affecting Lakeport, right along the western side of Lake Okeechobee, down to Moorhaven. If you are traveling along 27, traveling along 78, down toward Whidden Corner, certainly seeing that very heavy rainfall. Please take it easy. Also, frequent cloud to ground lightning strikes as this storm continues to work its way closer to Lake Okeechobee. Clewiston, I'm sure you can hear that storm coming. Just remember, if you can hear it, you want to make sure you head inside. The other big story, of course, being the heat. Factor in that humidity. It's feeling more like the triple digits right now in Clewiston. It's feeling more like 102. LaBelle right now, that heat index at 108 degrees. This will continue to be a big concern here, even as we head into the weekend, even with higher rain chances rolling in. But as we look ahead to tomorrow, those rain chances, they'll stay pretty minimal. Any showers and storms this evening will stay inland close to Hendry and Glades, closer to the lake. Otherwise, looking ahead to tomorrow morning, partly to mostly cloudy skies are forecast. Couple of showers a possibility in the morning. Otherwise, for the afternoon, most of those showers staying farther inland. So just a heads up. Scattered showers and storms building in as we look ahead farther into the weekend. As for tonight, mostly clear skies on tap as we start off tomorrow around 79 degrees, then up to 94. Best chance for those storms staying inland, 30% rain chance, going up more so over the weekend. Unfortunately, scattered downpours could affect us both Saturday into Father's Day. I'm updating that for you coming up.
A ruling from the Supreme Court today preserves the law that aims to keep Native American children with tribal families. The court left in place the 1978 Indian Child Welfare Act. That act gives preference to Native American families in foster care and adoption of Native children. The justices ruled against 3 white families and states that claim the law is based on race and is unconstitutional under the Equal Protection Clause.
Over the past few years, the DACA immigration protection has been curtailed and repeatedly challenged in court. As a federal judge prepares to issue yet a new ruling, some longtime recipients tell me they feel as anxious as ever about their future in America. It's an immigration program associated with youth. But today, many beneficiaries are not so young anymore.
None of us expected to have to renew our status every 2 years for over a decade.
This week marks 11 years since President Obama announced the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program, or DACA, allowing some immigrants who came to the U.S. as children to drive, study, and work in America without fear of deportation.
It's really been life-saving, really, for me.
When 37-year-old Juliana Macedo do Nascimento obtained DACA back in 2013, it changed her life.
I could finally have a job that I actually wanted to have, and that meant the world.
A decade and many degrees later, she is a deputy director of advocacy for United We Dream, a national group.
What do we want? Protection for all!
For hundreds of thousands of recipients like her, DACA has been a launching pad to middle class. Many have become homeowners and parents to U.S. citizens.
We are the mothers of U.S. citizens. We're friends of U.S. citizens. We're sisters of U.S. citizens.
Yet, in the face of congressional inaction, their future in this country is far from guaranteed. In 2021, a federal judge ruled in favor of 9 Republican-led states that argued the program was illegal. After the Biden administration sought to revise and fortify the policy last year, the case got sent back to the same judge who is expected to issue a similar decision.
I have 1 more year of college, and then thinking about it maybe like ending, it kind of just sucks because I've done all this work. My parents have helped me all this way.
21-year-old Katia Rubio Leal was brought from Mexico to the U.S. when she was only 2. After growing up undocumented in Arkansas, she got DACA when she was 15, right before the Trump administration froze the program for new applicants.
The best opportunities it has given me is a chance to work in really good places.
She is 1 year away from graduating with a biomedical engineering degree and is getting ready to apply for grad school. One day, she hopes to find a job designing prosthetic limbs. Whether her dream comes true is most likely out of her hands. Ben Chamiso, Scripps News.
As the water crisis continues in Flint 9 years later, there's a new push to hold the city and mayor in contempt of court. How our team's investigation is playing into this case.
Well, the future of what Sanibel could look like is a major discussion, especially after more and more people get a look at a new proposal. And when we come back, you're going to hear directly from one group that says the plan should be a no-go.
Southwest Florida. This is Fox 4 News at 5.
And thank you for trusting us here on Fox 4 News at 5. I'm Shari Armstrong alongside certified meteorologist Katie Walls. We are tracking a number of breaking news stories into the Fox 4 newsroom at this hour. We want to let you know about a shooting in Fort Myers at this hour. This happened at the Burnwood Trace apartment complex in Fort Myers. That's right off of 6 Mile Cypress in the area right near the Costco there, the Walmart there off of 6 Mile Cypress. So you can imagine a big response in that area, especially around this time where we are tracking traffic delays. And speaking of our roadways, we want to make sure you see this behind me. This is a major slowdown on I-75 southbound. As a matter of fact, you can see traffic is not moving in this area at this time.
Exactly.
Katie, I know you're keeping a close eye on those traffic maps, but we want to let you know if you're traveling I-75 southbound, again, this is near Corkscrew Road in the Alico area. If you are able to find an alternate road at this time, you definitely want to take it.
So basically, we are seeing about a 7-mile backup right now, and it stretches from RSW and southward. So you'll get past the airport just fine, but then farther south, look at this. You see purple? Purple means it's entirely shut down. Right now, I-75 southbound entirely closed. And then because we have such severe backups and a lot of folks turning around right now in the median, as we just saw, we are seeing severe backlog as well heading northbound. So my advice, if you are traveling anywhere, this is Bonita Beach Road up to RSW. If you can avoid this stretch of I-75, jump over to I-41. That way you don't have to deal with these severe slowdowns, especially stay away from I-75 South at this point. Let's take a live look outside right now from the Luminary Hotel in downtown Fort Myers. Everything nice and quiet. We are enjoying lots of sunshine, especially closer toward the coastline. Meanwhile, farther inland, we do have some big thunderstorms right now, especially for Glades County, pushing toward the western side of Lake Okeechobee. Marine warning now issued for strong winds as well as, of course, heavy downpours and lightning right along the western side of the lake. So from Whidden Corner to Moorhaven up to Lakeport, stretching up toward Buckhead Ridge, heads up. Clewiston, that storm knocking on your door, so please make sure you do seek shelter immediately. All of us up against more showers and storms looking ahead to the weekend. I'll have that timing for you coming up next.
A teenager is in trouble with the law after Naples police say he was driving recklessly on 5th Avenue and made it very dangerous for people standing to the side. This happened just a few days ago. And during the stunt, police say the suspect drove over a painted logo in the middle of the intersection, as you see here. They were able to track the teen down and they arrested him yesterday. He's accused of doing donuts, as you see here. He is facing reckless driving and criminal mischief charges. Well, the debate over rebuilding continues as the Sanibel Captiva Conservation Foundation and other environmental groups in the area call for Lee County commissioners to abandon the proposed changes to building heights. Now, to be clear, commissioners have not made a decision about regulations just yet. They have a public hearing to change land development codes on Captiva Island, which would allow businesses to rebuild their buildings taller than before. Well, the Sanibel Captiva Conservation Foundation and other groups have written a letter saying they are concerned about what changing building heights could not only do to the feel of the island, but also to the safety of wildlife and the wetlands.
If you have a 2-story building that is now becoming a 3-story building, that's going to put more light pollution out over the Gulf. That has the potential to disrupt migrating birds, sea turtles, cause problems with a lot of the wildlife.
So Fox 4 has reached out to the commissioner's office. We are waiting for a response from them tonight, but there's no change to the schedule for public comment. And right now, Collier County Transportation is meeting, and they are hosting this meeting to hear directly from the community on a new project. Leaders hope that this is an opportunity to review the designs already underway for a new bridge right over Golden Gate's main canal on 16th Street. Other improvements include a widening travel lane, adding a sidewalk, and a traffic signal there. That meeting is going on right now until about 6:30 at the multipurpose room at the University of Florida Extension on Immokalee Road. Well, the new Big Carlos Pass Bridge is now under construction. Big news for our area. It's going to be built on the Gulf side of the existing bridge and will eventually replace it. The nearly $91 million construction project will add a new fixed span bridge with a 60-foot navigation clearance over the Big Carlos Pass. The new bridge will also have a 6-foot wide sidewalk along the north side of Estero Boulevard. We spoke with Commissioner Sanibel today, who says the new bridge will not be a drawbridge.
This is a very important piece I think what's important about this bridge itself is that it's going to be a fixed span, so there won't be any, drawbridge. And that's very important for ingress and egress, especially for emergency vehicles and in times of disaster.
So the old bridge will be used to create an offshore reef. Now that the groundbreaking is over, construction is expected to start this summer.
Here at Dunbar Middle School, where the Respect for Law camp is taking place. It's an annual camp that's been going on for decades, and it's basically a condensed police academy for kids. Let's take you inside and show you more.
I want to be a paramedic though. My dad's a paramedic. He's always coming home and talking about like how he saved people's lives. He like delivered a baby. So it just makes me glad. It makes me happy. Like my dad's a paramedic.
I've been doing this particular camp for 19 years. I've been doing this because when I first got involved, I realized how important it was to be involved with our youth. So when they grow older, they'll be able to have that mature bonding with law enforcement officers. So a lot of us have gone through here and been here. Officer Biner is actually here today. He's actually been a youth here and has gone up to become a police officer.
I started off as a little camper. It was an amazing experience. Totally I wanted to continue doing this and explore a law enforcement career. This is definitely where it started, for sure.
I love children, so I'm looking forward to the growth, seeing how the kids come in and then how they leave. I believe we teach them a lot of core competency skills and skills that they can take, with life. And I just want to see that growth, so that's what I'm looking forward to the most.
I'm at SRO at Orangewood Elementary, so I think they'll learn, like time management will be a big one here. They'll learn, how to have respect, be as part of a team.
We learned about how to be respectful, how to do drills and stuff, and it really boost up your self-confidence a lot.
What does that mean to you to see that?
It's very rewarding, not only for myself, but for the Fort Myers Police Department and the city to see that the youth that come through here are able to gather all the information and provide them and use it later on in life.
In Fort Myers, Elise Chingari, Fox 4.
Governor Ron DeSantis has signed Florida's budget for the next fiscal year. The governor spoke about the financial state of the country at a press conference in Fort Pierce this morning, really pushing back on government spending.
So if your grocery bill doubled in the last year, it's still going up. It may just be going up a little less rapidly than it had been 6 months or a year ago. So this is a big problem for a lot of people. And why has it happened? Because Washington has borrowed, spent, and printed trillions and trillions of dollars since March of 2020.
The governor also challenging California Governor Gavin Newsom to join the 2024 presidential race, telling him to throw in his hat in the ring and take on President Joe Biden. Now, not only that, he called out President Biden's decision to fly the LGBTQ plus flag at the White House during Pride Month, calling it, quote, inappropriate.
Nearly 1 in 5 adults in the U.S. has been diagnosed with depression in their lifetime. But a new report out today from the CDC finds how prevalent depression is varies dramatically from state to state. The percentage of adults ranged from close to 13% in Hawaii compared to nearly 28% in West Virginia. The researchers hope this report can help get resources to the areas where the need is greatest. Representation on corporate boards is improving. New numbers out today from Deloitte show Fortune 500 companies had nearly 45% of women and people of color in board seats in 2022. That's up from 38% in 2020.
Continue to closely monitor a big traffic situation right now. 2 lanes on I-75 southbound still shut down between mile markers. Let's see, this is between the Alico Road as well as Corkscrew Road. So basically, if you're traveling south of RSW, you are up against this particular traffic jam. Please try to limit your time on I-75 and
Well, as we inch a little closer to the weekend, we are continuing to watch that blue-green algae bloom in the Caloosahatchee. So I want to bring in Fox 4 meteorologist Andrew Shipley. Andrew, I know you spoke with experts today. A lot of us at home keeping a close eye on this. What can you tell us as of right now?
Yeah, it's not going to get any better anytime soon, unfortunately. And this is because of the current bloom that is on Lake Okeechobee right now. The Army Corps is not releasing water into the Caloosahatchee, and that's despite the increase in target flows that's happened this past weekend. The levels on the lake continue to rise. And the concern here is for large damaging releases later this summer and a deeper lake, meaning an unhealthy lake and harmful to the environment there right around Lake Okeechobee. Now, I did speak to Matt DePaulis with the Sanibel Captiva Conservation Foundation today, and he says it's time to fix this situation now, and that's going to require some out-of-the-box thinking.
There are some of these other places where the Corps and the South Florida Water Management District have options, but they can be difficult, and it's going to take some creative thinking. But we need to move on this now before we get to a situation where we are late in the system. We're late in the year. The system is full. The lake is full to capacity, and then we're talking about doing these releases when they are going to be even more damaging.
And we're also seeing blooms in the Caloosahatchee with recent health alerts posted for Paradise Marina entrance, Franklin Lock, C-43 Canal, and upstream to S-79 and Fort Myers Shore. So what do experts think this summer will bring for Lake O and the Caloosahatchee? And could we see these blooms for months to come? I'll bring you those details tonight at 6. In studio, meteorologist Andrew Shipley, Fox 4.
The ACLU and the Natural Resources Defense Council are now citing our Scripps News investigation from this May as evidence as they ask a federal judge to install sanctions against the city of Flint and its mayor after they've missed deadline after deadline after court deadline.
Deadlines were set and deadlines were missed. I admit to that, right? Some could be contributed to me, and some could be contributed to other pieces, right?
Those words by Flint Mayor Sheldon Neely were aired in a Scripps News investigation in May, and some of them are now being cited in court documents asking a federal judge to find the city and its mayor in contempt of court and impose fines after they say the city missed yet another deadline. This deadline, according to court documents, was to identify the full scope of work left to replace lead drinking water pipes across the city. Scripps News reported this past May how nearly a decade after the Flint water crisis began, thousands of residents may still need their drinking water pipes inspected for toxic lead and other health hazards.
So what's the number overall that needs to still be completed?
Well, those numbers are elusive to say. I don't want to be nailed down to actually giving a particular number.
In an April interview with Scripps News, Flint Mayor Sheldon Neely, who took over the city 3.5 years ago, repeatedly declined to share how many homes still need to be inspected for potentially toxic water pipes.
I give you percentages. More than 90% of this process has been completed.
More than 90% complete is also exactly where the city said it stood in this press release that we found from August of 2020, nearly 3 years ago. Our own Scripps News analysis showed the work on Flint's pipes in recent years has slowed to a crawl.
Now that we're getting down to the last few lines, they're very difficult to find those lines because we're so close to the finishing point.
But we told Neely about 7 different Flint residents who we discovered had repeatedly contacted the city, but are still waiting to get contractors out to their homes after all these years, including Adia McCullough. She told us that her 7-year-old son, Robbie, has had to drink bottled water his entire life while they wait for the city to dig underground and inspect their water lines.
They came and spray painted the pipeline, and they put little flags, and then they left and they never did the work. It feels like you don't matter. Like everyone here is not important enough.
This woman's name is Adia.
After we told the mayor about Adia and gave the city her address and phone number in late April, he pledged to do something about it.
Now I know her name. Now that you're bringing it to me, I will send a team out.
We asked the mayor how long residents like Adia should have to wait for a team to assess their homes.
But once that call comes in and then we catalog that call, I would assume no more than 2 weeks before they can see some level of action.
But more than a month later, we went back to Flint and visited Adia on her front porch.
No action still.
Has the city called you to set up an appointment?
No.
You've seen no action?
None.
And as Flint residents like Adia remain in limbo, we found another issue. On our visit this past April, the main phone line the city tells residents to use to call to get the let out was not working.
The user's mailbox is not available at this time. Thank you. Goodbye.
When we told the city, a spokesperson promised a permanent fix. But a month later, when we sat with Tanya Burns, the Flint City Council member who represents Adia McCullough's neighborhood, we watched what happened when she tried to call.
The user's mailbox is not available at this time.
This is the one line. If no other line works at City Hall, that line should be working. There's no excuse for that. There's none.
When we let the city know, a spokesperson emailed a statement writing, "The city is inquiring as to why the phone line is not working consistently." She also told us the city is committed to finishing all of its remaining work by the latest court order deadline of August 1st.
Thank you, sweetheart.
Meanwhile, residents like Adia McCullough continue to use bottled water each day as her skepticism about more promises coming from the city grows.
Honestly, I don't even have words for it anymore. Someone that's comfortable with letting people live like this, they're not going to hear someone like me anyway.
Now, the city responded in court to that attempt to hold the city and the mayor in contempt of court, saying that this request is wholly without merit, and they said that it never should have singled out the mayor, Sheldon Neely. Also, we went back to Sheldon Neely again to tell him about Adia McCullough's case, and I can tell you that as of right now, in a major twist, Ms. McCullough is telling us that this week she's finally seen a contractor show up on her door ready to inspect her drinking water pipes. Mark Greenblatt, Scripps News in Washington.
Monitors showers and storms in and around Lake Okeechobee, but for the rest of us closer toward the coast, from Sarasota County to Charlotte, Lee, as well as Collier, conditions are dry, but they are hot. Sweltering heat continues to be a big concern here across Southwest Florida. First, though, let's track those storms, and then we'll talk about the heat. Live look right now from the Bayfront Inn, beautiful downtown Naples, where conditions are hot, humid, but on the dry side. So no wet weather for downtown, but looking farther inland, you can see some of those towering cumulonimbus, basically the anvils from these storms that are farther inland. So in and around Lake Okeechobee, especially on the western side right here from Buckhead Ridge to Lakeport, stretching down especially to Moorhaven, Clewiston, that intensity is going to be picking up in short order right now in Clewiston, right along State Route 80. That is where we are seeing some very heavy rainfall, frequent lightning, as well as gusty wind. We could see some wind gusts here on the western side of Lake Okeechobee in and around 40 to 50 miles per hour. And Buckhead Ridge, get ready. It does look like it will be clipping you here in just a moment. So heads up there for our friends in that part of Glades County and in northeastern Hendry County. So that said, a lot of us could use some cooling down. Look at this. This is how hot it feels on your skin when you factor the temperature in with the humidity. Right now, Golden Gate and Immokalee feeling more like 107 degrees. LaBelle still feeling more like 108. In Cape Coral, that heat index currently at 103 degrees. Temperatures themselves right around 90. Doesn't seem too bad, but again, when you factor that humidity in, that's really the factor here. That's causing it to feel so exceptionally hot. Also, with that higher humidity, our temperatures this evening won't be dropping very far very quickly. Notice by 10 and 11 o'clock, still staying in the mid-80s. So right here around 7, best chance for those storms staying in and around the lake. Otherwise, for the rest of us, we are staying on the dry side. By 8 o'clock, everything clearing out radar-wise across Southwest Florida. Overnight tonight, mostly clear skies expected, but it does look like we're going to be kicking off your Friday with a bit more cloud cover. Heads up there, partly to mostly cloudy. Could see a couple of spotty rain showers. We'll put in isolated rain for both the morning morning as well as the afternoon on your Friday. And then with those winds picking up out of the west and southwest, that should help to kick most of the action Friday evening farther inland. So basically same story as what we have right now. Glades and Hendry, that's where I'm expecting most of the activity for tomorrow afternoon and evening. Now let's talk about your weekend. Saturday, a couple of spotty showers, a possibility for the morning, but honestly, you need to make sure you have that rain gear ready to go. Looking ahead to the afternoon, the evening, take a look at this. Scattered showers and storms expected across southwest Florida, and that in turn could impact some outdoor plans. So just want to give you that heads up. Saturday, Sunday, definitely looking a bit more active compared to the activity that we have seen. As for the tropics, conditions quiet close to home, but there's one wave of energy forecast to roll off the coast of Africa here in the next couple of days. 20% probability of further development, something we're monitoring, but not something that we're worried about just yet. Mostly clear tonight, dropping down to 79, tomorrow up to 94, but feeling more like 104 degrees. And then over the weekend, those storm chances will be going up.
It can be really frustrating to think you know the price for a concert ticket and then you go to check out and get hit with a ton of added fees. Well, some of the biggest ticket sellers say today they plan to change how they show prices to make that process more transparent. Live Nation and its Ticketmaster unit are rolling out a feature that shows you the full price up front. Live Nation says you'll start seeing this in September. Ticket platform SeatGeek will also be adding features over the course of the summer to make it easier for you to see the total price up front. But these so-called junk fees aren't just an issue with tickets.
In the case of hotel resort fees, it's about $3 billion a year that's tacked on to hotel bills. And what we'd like to see as consumer advocates is all-in pricing, where at the first place where you're picking out a hotel room, you get the entire price given to you up front.
Airbnb rolled out an all-in pricing tool in December after the Biden administration first called on companies to stop hiding fees. Home values have been going up for years, but now for the first time in more than a decade, the average homeowner has less equity. Average equity hit about $274,000 in the first quarter. That's according to new numbers from the real estate data tracker CoreLogic. That's down close to 2% from the same time last year. The last time we saw equity fall year over year was in the first part of 2012.
Up in Fox 4 News at 6, we are continuing coverage of our breaking news happening tonight as Fort Myers police are in the middle of a shooting investigation.
What we know about an adult male who was shot and one person now in custody. We're also taking you live to this scene. This is a traffic backup that brought I-75 to a standstill. The long Southwest Florida commute home just got a whole lot longer on this stretch of the interstate. Updates for you throughout the night right here on Fox 4 News at 6. These updates on a busy breaking news day here on this Thursday coming up in just a few minutes.
Live from Fox 4, this is breaking news.
And thank you for trusting us here at Fox 4 News at 6. I'm Shari Armstrong.
And I'm Nadine Yanis. We are tracking breaking news across Southwest Florida with a major backup bringing I-75 to a standstill right at the peak of rush hour.
And just into the Fox 4 newsroom, Fort Myers police are investigating a shooting.
So we want to take a look at your screen here. This is on Burnwood Place Drive. Officers are on the scene of the shooting investigation. Here's what we know so far. We are going to go ahead and take a live look now at the Burnwood Trace Apartments. You can see that there's a crime scene tape here at the apartments that you're going to see right now. What we know from Fort Myers police is they are confirming that an adult male was shot and one person has been in custody. Now, for some reference here, Burnwood Place Apartments is right off of 6 Mile Cypress. It's down the road from the shops at Village Walk, which is also near Winkler Avenue. You can see this is a gated area, and through those gates, you can see that crime scene tape that is still there. We also have pictures that are coming in from a viewer of this scene. That viewer calling us here at Fox 4, Dawn Connors. It really gives you an idea of the scene that you're going to see inside the community. These are the pictures from that viewer. Now, as you know, Fox 4 is working to find out more details right now from the Fort Myers Police Department. Again, a shooting at the Burnwood Place Apartments in Fort Myers. We're going to stay on top of this for you on fox4now.com. Also breaking tonight, we're watching this, a massive backup on I-75 southbound. You're getting a look at live video from FDOT.
Yeah, so this area we're talking about is southbound again, just before mile marker 125. We were trying to paint a picture as to where exactly this is. This is between RSW and Corkscrew. It's been this way for quite some time. The left lane has been blocked for almost a half an hour now. So if you have someone you know who takes this on the way home, know that it's going to take some time to get traffic flowing again. As you can see here, we're going to keep you updated on the scene throughout the course of the show, Nadine.
And Jashari, just so you know, this is about 3 miles north of Corkscrew Road. So this is in between RSW and Corkscrew Road. And so we know that this is going to take a long time before things open back up slowly but surely there. Also tonight, Charlotte County Public Schools has a new superintendent, and Fox 4 has learned he is coming into the next school year with a new Guardian program. This will allow the district to hire armed guards. This is a program that other Southwest Florida districts have in place. Let's go ahead and bring in Fox 4's Caitlin Knapp joining us live in studio tonight, sitting down with the new superintendent, talking his top priorities tonight, Caitlin.
Yeah, a lot of priorities for Mark Vianello, who worked in Marion County most recently. He told me today one of his top priorities is school safety, where I also learned this new superintendent comes with a new Guardian program that they passed on Tuesday. Though we don't know the framework of the program, we do know what Vianello hopes to accomplish in the new role.
I'm not coming in here to make a lot of changes. I'm coming in here to build upon the success of really an outstanding school system.
The mindset for Mark Vianello as he finishes his second day with Charlotte County Public Schools as the new superintendent.
In any position that you're in, you want to make a difference.
A difference?
Safety matters most.
Starting with the big change, the Guardian program, approved Tuesday by the school board. In the district's new policy, they can hire armed guards that will solely serve as just that.
And that is a tool that can help keep our students and our employees and our visitors to our schools safe.
Vianello also says he wants to focus on student investment after graduation, aligning schools' programs with the workforce, and academic achievement.
It's them leaving with a well-thought-out, coordinated plan of what's next for them.
Though Vianello knows it also comes back to teachers as the district works to fill 70 vacancies.
We have to continue to be innovative and work with outside companies that can help us have job fairs.
The new superintendent is already hitting the ground running.
So you come in and you evaluate.
Saying he's looking at what works and identify any issues to problem solve.
Is there anything you want to double down on in your 2 days that you've seen?
Not quite ready to answer that question yet, but we'll get there.
The Charlotte County Sheriff's Office tells me they've been following what the school district has been discussing regarding the Guardian program. When I asked Vianello if it'll be in place by the next school year, he said they're working to do it as soon as possible. Reporting live in studio, Caitlin Knapp, Fox 4.
Caitlin, thank you so much. All right, Katie, I listened to you because you said if you want to work out early in the morning, make sure you're up as early as possible because of those feels like temperatures. Right. But I was up at like 7:30 and it was still hot even then.
What's so funny is I also listened to Katie because last night I watched my dog at 8 o'clock at night after the sun set as well. So
it's the
bravo.
smart thing to do.
I mean, it's hot outside.
We are hitting 100-degree heat indices as early as 11 a.m.
Wow.
That's why it's so important to make sure you walk your dog, you get those exercises in early on. That way you don't overheat yourself. I mean, look at this at 6:05, still feeling more like 102 degrees in Cape Coral, more like 103 in Arcadia. Then back toward Moorhaven and Clewiston, a rain-cooled 99 degrees. Let's take a live look right now at what those storms look like on the horizon. Here we are from the Bayfront Inn in downtown Naples. While Naples itself is nice and dry, farther inland in and around Lake Okeechobee, especially the western side of Lake O, that's where we do have those storms right now. So notice we're dry from Sarasota down to Collier, but farther inland, a powerful thunderstorm right now on the western side of Lake Okeechobee, affecting spots from Buckhead Ridge all the way down to Moorhaven as well as Clewiston. Frequent lightning, gusty winds up to 40-50 miles per hour, as well as heavy downpours right along 78 as this storm starts to work its way from the west toward the east, right now affecting the western side of Lake Okeechobee and now starting to cross over. More of us, though, will be dealing with storms like this as we push ahead to the weekend. I'm updating that for you coming up in the next 10 minutes.
Well, new information this evening on the Lehigh Acres shooting that killed 2 people and sent 2 more to the hospital. We now know there was a civil lawsuit involving 2 of the people, including the one deputies say is the shooter. Both he and the other person in the suit were supposed to be in court yesterday morning around 9 o'clock, and deputies were called to the scene of the fatal shooting just hours before that. Now, that suspect is Yohani Gonzalez de Lazaro, and he is listed as a defendant in this civil suit. The plaintiff, Danae Velasquez Alvarez, claims de Lazaro tried to file a quit-claim deal to have his name listed on the property, but contends he has no right to do so. An elderly couple shot and killed at the home on 11th Terrace, and 3 more adults are in hospitals, and that includes the suspected shooter. 2 children were also inside when it happened. Deputies say they were not injured.
Well, Fort Myers' first ever LGBTQ+ community center is opening its doors tomorrow. Visuality Florida and Pride Southwest Florida teaming up to create an easily accessible center for all. Now, according to the president of Visuality, Adam Larrabee, the center will be used for education, events, and a safe space for the public, including youth here. And in a time of political debate against the LGBTQ+ community, he says the nonprofit hopes to unify Southwest Florida.
Education and exposure, I think, is the #1 key to see that, we are here, we're taking up space, we are important, we matter, and we want to show others that we're not, something to be feared.
Now, the community center signed a 2-year lease for the current building in downtown Fort Myers. They hope to outgrow it into a bigger space after that agreement ends.
Well, the fire chief in Northport is now back on the job. He was placed on administrative leave during an investigation. The final results say it did not find any evidence of Scott Titus violating city policy. Now, this all started in March when the International Firefighters Association went to the Northport city manager and called for the investigation. The final reports say after conducting more than 100 interviews, it found no systemic issues of hostile, harassing, or otherwise abhorrent behavior within the department. The investigation concluded by saying there could have been ulterior motives for the firefighters union to ask for that investigation.
Well, tonight, more pushback, this time from environmental groups calling for Lee County commissioners to reject a proposal to allow the South Seas Resort to build higher and get rid of density requirements altogether on Captiva Island. Now, South Seas Resort is requesting to change land development codes in order to build higher and add more units on their property. Right now, codes only allow 3 units per acre, but South Seas doesn't want any density restrictions. The resort also wants to be able to build up to as high as 75 feet high. Now, to be clear, commissioners have not made a decision yet about these regulations, but there is a meeting happening next week, and leaders with the Sanibel Captiva Conservation Foundation say this is the wrong move for the island and the island's environment.
With removing the density requirements for South Seas only, every other hotel on the island will still be bound by these hotel density unit restrictions. It's strictly South Seas that would be able to remove those through a further zoning change if this were to go through. So I don't see how increasing the density out there for one member of the island is going to be doing anything to prevent future damage from hurricanes.
Now, it's not only the Sanibel Conservation Foundation here. The Sanibel City Council, they also took a strong stance on this last night, unanimously voting to send a letter to the Lee County Board of Commissioners requesting an outright rejection of these proposals. Again, that Lee County meeting is set for June 20th. That is next Tuesday if you want to weigh in. Well, a man is learning his fate in the first cell phone-related distracted driving case that went to trial and ended in a guilty verdict here in Florida.
In April, Gregory Adriatis was convicted of vehicular homicide and reckless driving for a 2016 crash that killed a 9-year-old. His name was Logan Shearer. Now, Logan's parents and witnesses say Adriatis was using his cell phone and was distracted when he crashed into them right on I-75 in Hernando County, causing a chain reaction. Now, sentencing is underway, and Thursday with Adriatis facing 30 years in prison.
Yeah, so during his sentencing hearing, he spoke publicly for the first time about the crash. He apologized to Logan's family and the pain that he has caused, and the Shearers responded to his apology.
I carry a lot of sympathy for Mr. Andriotis, and I carry a lot of sympathy for his family, and I carry a tremendous amount of sympathy for his children. That's what tugs at my heartstrings the most. But at the end of the day, I've had to be reminded, and I have to remind myself, well, we go home every day without our child. And, there are consequences to actions.
Yeah, that is some powerful interviews there today. Well, 4 years ago, texting while driving became a primary offense in the state of Florida. Again, this case, one of the first ones to result in a guilty verdict and sentencing. However, investigator Katie LeGrone recently found that Florida's texting while driving law is considered one of the weakest in the country, with fines starting at just $30 for the first offense.
Well, the smoke, the haze, and the air quality concerns are back.
And this time it's hanging over the Midwest, all the way from the Canadian border down to St. Louis. Just how long this is going to linger is now the question.
And from air quality to our water quality right here in Southwest Florida tonight, new information on blue-green algae blooms in the Caloosahatchee.
Radar, for the most part, pretty quiet for most of us across Southwest Florida, but this is what it could look like on Saturday afternoon. That means storms affecting us and maybe even impacting plans. I'll have the timeline for you next.
Well, breaking tonight, we are staying on top of this massive backup on I-75 South. This is live video from FDOT, where honestly, we're seeing progress, Nadine. 2 lanes are now open. The area we're talking about is the southbound lanes just before mile marker 125. So that's between RSW and Corkscrew Road. It's been this way for quite some time. The left lane has been blocked for almost an hour.
Right.
So if you have someone you know who takes this on the way home, know that it's going to take them some time to actually get through traffic. And guys, as we talk about I-75 southbound, you can see on the northbound lines those slowdowns as well.
Yeah, I mean, really, though the 2 lanes have opened up, it is still a slow go here, and you can expect these backups to take a while. It wasn't too long ago, Shari, we also saw people trying to do U-turns in the median right there. We also saw troopers pulling people over. So just want to make sure that you just take your time here, and slowly but surely we're seeing things improve. All right, well, let's go ahead and shift now to weather as we bring in certified meteorologist Katie Walls as we're dealing with all of the breaking news out there.
Right.
The weather story of the week has been this heat.
The heat, it's the hottest, it's the most humid that we have seen so far this year here in Southwest Florida, and it's the kind of heat that you really have to be respectful of, because when we're talking about triple-digit heat indices, that can be dangerous. If you're spending too much time outside, you can easily overexert yourself. So please, just make sure plenty of breaks, plenty of water, and of course, always wear the sunscreen and that nice big hat. 103 degrees is what it feels like right now, even at this hour in Lehigh Acres, LaBelle. That heat index, which is what it feels like when you combine the temperature with the humidity, feeling more like 105. So regardless of how you slice it, even where we have some rain-cooled areas, Moorhaven, Clewiston, still feeling more like 99 degrees. Speaking of which, just take a look at what those storms look like farther inland. Quite the perspective here. You can see those overshooting cloud tops, some of those anvils right there from those cumulonimbus far into Glades County. This is what it looks like from Cape Coral looking inland, and we are looking at that thunderstorm right there from atop the Fox 4 studios. Now, Cape Coral, Lee County, we are dry, along with Charlotte, DeSoto, and to Sarasota, but farther inland right here in and around Glades into northeastern Hendry, we do have active marine warnings in effect. This is because these storms crossing over Lake Okeechobee are exceptionally strong. Frequent lightning, gusty wind, small hail, and again, those gusts could exceed 40 to 50 miles per hour. So obviously now's not the time to be on the lake, but especially on the northern side as well as the western side of the lake, that's where the worst of it is. So let's start right here, Buckhead Ridge. Notice frequent lightning, heavy rain right along 78, stretching down toward Lakeport. Not exactly the best of commutes there this evening. From Moorhaven to Whitting Corner, very strong thunderstorm right there parked over 27, working its way towards Shawnee as well as Clewiston. So Clewiston already raining. I know you can hear that thunder, but that intensity is going to be picking up here in short order. So just want to give you a heads up there for our friends in Clewiston. Helping you plan out the rest of your evening, other than those storms in and around the lake, conditions for the rest of us are dry, hot, muggy, all of the above. Partly cloudy skies at 9 o'clock onward, but look at that. Because your dew points are so muggy, we have so much moisture in the air right now, your temperature is not really going to be dropping very far very quickly into the mid-80s at 11 as well as midnight. So heading into this evening, 7 o'clock, best chance for those storms staying around the lake, but by 8, those storms are done. Everybody will be nice and quiet. Heading into your Friday, though, we will be seeing a bit more cloud cover, so calling for a mix of clouds and sun for tomorrow. And then I do think we'll have some spotty rain showers in the mix. We'll call for isolated rain both the morning. Heading into the afternoon, those storms, though, they will be pretty isolated. Looking ahead later into the day, right here around 8 o'clock, best chance will be farther inland, but we will start to see a transition into a more active weather pattern, especially as we look ahead to your Saturday. So Saturday morning might start off quietly, but looking ahead to the afternoon, all of us need to gear up and be ready for developing downpours across all of Southwest Florida. Those rain chances bumping up to 40 to 60%. For tonight, clearing skies, 79 degrees. For tomorrow, mix of clouds and sun. It's going to be another hot one, 94, but feeling more like 104 degrees. And then those increasing rain chances over the weekend. Some storms could impact Father's Day plans as well.
All right, Katie, 80s overnight. That is a lot of hot weather tonight. Well, for the last several weeks, we've also been tracking the blue-green algae blooms, and both on Lake Okeechobee and here in the Caloosahatchee. Well, today we are learning that the Army Corps is not releasing water into the Caloosahatchee, despite the fact that they increased those target flows over the weekend.
So meteorologist Andrew Shipley has been following the blooms for weeks, and he actually spoke with experts today about the outlook this summer. Andrew?
Yeah, I was told by FGCU Professor Dr. Barry Rosen just a few weeks ago that guacamole season was right around the corner. Now, I spoke to Dr. Rosen again today about the current blooms on Lake O and the smaller blooms we've been seeing here on the Caloosahatchee. This is what he had to say.
A lot of nutrients in the water. There's plenty of blue-green algae. They like this warmer temperature. They're very happy right now.
The current bloom on Lake Okeechobee covers 380 square miles, according to NOAA's Sentinel satellite. With the current bloom and local watershed flows already at damaging levels from rain runoff, the Army Corps is not releasing water into the Caloosahatchee. That means water levels in the lake are rising.
The major outflow right now is to evaporation, and that's all we can do.
And that watershed runoff is feeding blooms currently in the Caloosahatchee.
The watershed we know is pretty enriched. So any cyanobacteria that are already in the canal system, and there's plenty, they're going to be stimulated by having that extra nutrient load coming in from the watershed.
Those blooms in the Caloosahatchee have led to numerous health alerts this week for harmful algotoxins. Dr. Rosen says those alerts are for ingesting that water in any way.
So most of those protections are about recreational exposure. People aren't going to drink that water, but their pets might.
While the Army Corps isn't releasing water into the Caloosahatchee right now, that water level is continuing to rise. As those water levels rise, the risk of a damaging water release later this summer increases. The Sanibel Captiva Conservation Foundation says the Army Corps is going to have to get creative in how they lower those levels.
The rainy season continues and we're still getting that basin runoff, and we get to a point where we need to make lake releases, then that's only going to exacerbate the situation.
A large release of Lake O water would increase nutrient loading in the river, feeding more blooms, damaging oyster beds, and possibly feeding new algal blooms in the Gulf. But with the current blooms in the Caloosahatchee, DePaulis and Dr. Rosen both think it'll be a busy summer for blooms.
We've seen it at some of the boat launches down the river. We're getting anecdotal reports that it's showing up in some of the canals around Cape Coral and some of the other areas too. So I think that we're in a place where the huge toxic algae blooms haven't started yet, but they're well on their way to reaching us.
And Lake O is currently about 14 feet deep. And after the recent improvements of the Herbert Hoover Dike, the lake can hold about 20 feet of water. But that deeper lake means an unhealthy lake. That said, Dr. Rosen says we could drop about a foot on the lake, but that would take months of releases. In studio, meteorologist Andrew Shipley, Fox 4.
Thank you so much. Still to come on Fox 4 News at 6, banning the ban on books. One state has passed a new law that penalizes schools and libraries when books are removed. We're going to tell you about it next.
All right, there has been a lot of talk across the nation about our state removing books from school libraries.
But one state is actually doing the opposite. They're actually trying to stop libraries from banning books.
Yeah, Jackie Ibanez explains how it could also cost libraries and school districts money in the long run.
They're a first for the nation, with leaders in Illinois and New York City passing new laws and rules they hope will gain traction across the rest of the country.
Regimes ban books, not democracies.
Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker signing a bill into law Monday, making the Prairie State the first in the U.S. to forbid public libraries from banning books.
Books about LGBTQ plus kids and teens. Books about the Black experience and racism.
The new chapter in Illinois starts January 1st and prevents public libraries from receiving state funding if they ban reading materials based on partisan or doctrinal reasons.
The argument for banning books always begins with the claim that it's about protecting the children. Book bans are about censorship, marginalizing people.
Meanwhile, another big rule is coming to the Big Apple.
New York City is setting the tone for across America.
Starting July 12th, app-based food delivery workers for companies like Uber Eats and DoorDash will begin receiving a minimum pay rate of nearly $18 an hour.
It's good for the economy because when the deliveristas are paid the right salary, they're going to recycle the dollars back into the communities.
Bumping them up from the roughly $7 an hour they currently make. Pay rates will be adjusted every year based on inflation. But these mandates are getting some pushback. Some critics of the ban on banning books say the law is politically motivated, while officials at Uber Eats and DoorDash say New York City's rule could eliminate jobs. Jackie Ibanez, Fox News.
All right, you see our yellow pads out. We are following breaking news here. So just ahead, we're going to have the latest on a shooting investigation in Fort Myers where police say they were called to an apartment complex this afternoon.
And now we know one person is in custody. We're going to take you to that scene when Fox 4 News at 6 returns.
Live from Fox 4, this is Breaking News.
And thank you for trusting us here on Fox 4 News at 6. I'm Shari Armstrong.
And I'm Nadine Yanis. We are following breaking news tonight as Fort Myers police are investigating a late afternoon shooting. We want you to take a look at your screen here. This is happening on Burnwood Trace Drive at the Burnwood Chase Apartments. This right off of 6 Mile Cypress, down the road from the shops at Village Walk near Winkler Avenue. Officers are on scene there. Here's what we know so far. This is a live look here from the Burnwood Chase Apartments. You can see that crime scene tape there. Fort Myers police do confirm that an adult male was shot here and at least one person has been detained. You also see this is a gated apartment complex, so we are outside with Fort Myers police on scene as, again, the crime scene tape is up, Shari.
Sure, and this is a busy part of our community, right? This is in that area right off of 6 Mile Cypress. During peak rush hour hours, we see a lot of traffic in this area, so a heads up for those of you in this community or near this area. Fox 4 is working to find out more details from the Fort Myers police, and we will bring you updates throughout the show and online at fox4now.com.
Well, one of the major landmarks that we have been keeping an eye on since Hurricane Ian is the Sanibel Lighthouse. And starting tomorrow, the iconic beach the lighthouse sits on will reopen. This will be the first time in nearly 9 months. Fox 4's Colton Chavez is bringing us an update this evening from Lighthouse Beach Park.
So despite this sign right here that says beach closed, and this sign that says beach closed, or this sign, or even that sign, the city of Sanibel says tomorrow Lighthouse Beach Park will be open.
Getting the debris off the beaches, filling in any voids and such.
It took checking off a lot of requirements for Sanibel Mayor Richard Johnson to finally announce that Lighthouse Beach Park,
our last public access area on Sanibel,
is ready to reopen and, according to Mayor Johnson, capable of handling the traffic that comes with it.
All of our parking lots, with one exception, and that's the parking lot over at the fishing pier. All the rest of our parking lots are open and ready to receive guests.
So we're just sitting outside the closed entrance to the Lighthouse Beach Park right now, and it is a hot one here on Sanibel. The Fox 4 weather app says it's 91 degrees outside, and I guarantee it feels even hotter than that. So we expect a lot of people here on island today to try to get as close to the water as they can.
So we've just been scouting beaches.
Lines of cars, some learning for the first time the Lighthouse Beach will reopen.
That's exciting, honestly, because I've been waiting to see just how different the topography looks.
Others coming back for the first time since the storm.
The day before the hurricane hit, they were evacuated off.
Is traffic, you think, going to be a concern maybe moving forward tomorrow?
Well, I would guess that it would be, but I mean, under normal circumstances, when isn't it for Sanibel? And they navigate it as well as you can.
For businesses, Mayor Johnson says reopening Lighthouse Beach should help them get back on track. But for others, Lighthouse Beach shines a path back to all the things that they love about the little island.
I like Sanibel a lot because the water's clear, there's a lot of animals to fish.
Who catches more fish, you or your dad?
Neither of us. We don't fish.
On Sanibel Island, Colton Chavez, Fox 4.
And what an adorable kid there. Also, kids from all over Southwest Florida are at the Respect for Law camp at Dunbar Middle School today. Fox 4's Alicia Gary takes us there to meet tomorrow's police officers and first responders.
Here at Dunbar Middle School, the Respect for Law camp is taking place. It's been going on for more than 30 years. It's basically a condensed police academy for kids between the ages of 11 to 14. Let's take you inside here and show you more.
I want to be a paramedic though. My dad's a paramedic. He's always coming home and talking about like how he saved people's lives. He like delivered a baby. It just makes me glad. It makes me happy. Like my dad's a paramedic.
I've been doing this particular camp for 19 years. I've been doing this because when I first got involved, I realized how important it was to be involved with our youth. So when they grow older, they'll be able to have that mature bonding with law enforcement officers. So a lot of us have gone through here and been here. Officer Biner is actually here today. He's actually been a youth here and has gone up to become a police officer.
I started off as a little camper. It was an amazing experience. I wanted to continue doing this and explore a law enforcement career. This is definitely where it started, for sure.
I love children, so I'm looking forward to the growth, seeing how the kids come in and then how they leave. I believe we teach them a lot of core competency skills and skills that they can take, with life. And I just want to see that growth, so that's what I'm looking forward to the most.
I'm at SRO at Orangewood Elementary, so I think they'll learn, like time management will be a big one here. They'll learn, how to have respect, be as part of a team.
We learned about how to be respectful, how to do drills and stuff, and it really boost up your self-confidence a lot.
What does that mean to you to see that?
It's very rewarding, not only for myself, but for the Fort Myers Police Department and the city to see that the youth that come through here are able to gather all the information and provide them and use it later on in life.
In Fort Myers, Elise Chingari, Fox 4.
Love to see it. Thank you so much, Elise. All right, signed, sealed, and delivered. The state budget is now in place after being signed by Governor Ron DeSantis.
And tonight we are getting a better look at what it includes. So here are some of the numbers for you. $130 million will be going to first responders' salaries. And there's an additional $1.1 billion for teacher salaries.
And there's also $4 billion for transportation projects to relieve congestion and $1.6 billion for the Everglades and water protection. We'll have more on the governor's ongoing feud with former President Donald Trump coming up here in just a minute.
Yeah, but first we got new details as the Washington Post reports that former President Trump repeatedly ignored the advice of attorneys who tried to prevent the classified documents legal mess that he is now in. This does include an attorney who wanted to strike a deal with the Department of Justice just months ago to avoid actual criminal charges, which, as we know, he faced this week. So the Post reports that attorney Chris Keiss wanted to negotiate a settlement with the DOJ back in the fall. But it goes on to say that Trump followed the advice of Tom Fitton, which is a non-lawyer head of the conservative activist group Judicial Watch. Now, Fitton started calling on Trump in February of last year to not overturn those documents or cooperate with federal investigators.
Now to the ongoing feud between the governor and the former president. DeSantis remains a distant second in early polling, but is trying to take advantage of Trump's arraignment. As the two candidates continue to throw punches at each other, Kevin Cirilli has more on this growing feud.
When former President Donald Trump arrived at the federal courthouse in Miami on Tuesday, Ron DeSantis' super PAC trolled him on Twitter. Steve Cortez, a former Trump political advisor turned DeSantis supporter, on Tuesday tweeted, quote, "It's time for a law and order candidate," attacking Trump for his bipartisan criminal justice reform bill. Trump's bipartisan 2018 criminal justice reform bill was praised at the time by Republicans and Democrats alike, and even Kim Kardashian. Now the legislation has come under attack from conservatives who argue it contributed to escalating crime nationwide. The 2018 First Step Act looked to address racial inequality in the criminal justice system and was backed inside the Trump White House by former President Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner. DeSantis says he would repeal it as president. In an interview with conservative commentator Ben Shapiro, DeSantis dubbed it, quote, "the jailbreak bill," end quote, and vowed to repeal it.
Under the Trump administration, he enacted a bill, basically a jailbreak bill. It's called the First Step Act.
A spokesperson for Trump's super PAC accused DeSantis of flip-flopping on the issue. In a statement to Scripps News, Trump's super PAC spokeswoman Caroline Levitt said, quote, "Ron DeSantis ran his campaign on Donald Trump's America First agenda." She went on to say that he is now attacking Trump on those very same issues, proving that he is just another flip-flopping politician who will say whatever it takes to win. DeSantis did call Trump a, quote, "law and order candidate" while campaigning for him in the last election.
We are a law and order state, and we need a law and order POTUS. We need the president reelected.
In an interview Wednesday with Scripps News, DeSantis super PAC founder Ken Cuccinelli said it's Trump who's flip-flopping, not DeSantis.
I think it's viewed as a flip-flop for Trump. Certainly during the campaign, the president certainly talked that way.
Trump continues to surge amongst voters after news of the indictment. A CBS News YouGov poll released after the indictment has Trump clearing the Republican field with 61% support amongst Republican voters. DeSantis is in second at 23%. The others in single digits.
Well, we continue to stay on top of breaking and developing stories throughout Southwest Florida at this hour.
Yeah, let's go ahead and give you a live look now, again on I-75 near mile marker 125 in between RSW and Corkscrew Road exit. We're taking a closer look at what this could mean for your commute home coming up next.
Definitely a mess there. At least rain chances, though, are staying low for now into tomorrow, but not the case over the weekend. Those rain probabilities jumping up to 70%. I'll pinpoint when those storms could impact your plans.
All right, Southwest Florida, we continue to stay on top of this essential mess on I-75 South. This is a live look at I-75 South at mile marker 126, which is in the area of RSW and Corkscrew Road. Now, you can see because of a crash there, we are seeing major backups. Fox 4 Katie Walls just told us that this backup actually spans about 4 miles, but we are seeing progress when it comes to some of this traffic here.
And it's difficult because though we are seeing the progress with 2 lanes reopening, it is still a slow go. Let's go ahead and take a look at the traffic maps here just to show you how far it's backed up, at least 4 miles right now. And Shara, you said it. This is happening between Corkscrew Road and the RSW exit. And then you see on the other side there, northbound lanes are also slowing down just for people curious here. So it's a mess. It's been this way for the last hour or two. If you know someone trying to get home who takes I-75, just know this is probably what they are dealing with right now.
Well, one thing we are dealing with is when you look at the temperatures that we're actually seeing right now, it is warm. Sometimes I'm like, it's like extremely hot. I need to go right back inside as soon as I go outside. Seriously.
We're talking about how wrong your car temperature might be telling you, because even though it might say 92, 93, the feels like temperatures way hotter than that, Katie. I mean, past 100 degrees.
10 to 15 degrees hot. That's the kind of humidity, that deep tropical moisture, that's causing it to feel so exceptionally warm. Take a look at this. High temperatures today, 93 degrees at our 3 main reporting sites. Fort Myers, Naples, as well as Punta Gorda. You're thinking, okay, that's not too shabby. But all of us were in the triple digits when you factor that humidity in. And even at this hour, as we near 7 p.m., still feeling more like 102 degrees in Cape Coral, 105 in LaBelle. Currently Arcadia feeling more like 103 degrees. And this will continue to be the case heading into the weekend, even into next week, even as those rain chances start to go up. Let's take a live look outside right now at quiet conditions in downtown Fort Myers. For those of you heading out from Sarasota County, DeSoto, Charlotte, Lee, Collier, conditions look like this. It's hot, it's humid, but it's really quite beautiful. Just make sure you do stay hydrated. Farther inland in and around Lake Okeechobee, that is not the case. So especially eastern Glades, northeastern Hendry counties, we continue to watch these strong thunderstorms, though the worst now starting to move out of our viewing area. Still, though, this very strong storm, this section right over Buckhead Ridge, right along 78, not only producing heavy rainfall, frequent lightning, but also wind gusts 40 to 50 miles per hour, a possibility with these storms. Moorhaven, Whitten Corners, Shawnee, as well as Clewiston, big improvement here. This section of the storm collapsing as we speak. So few and far between those lightning strikes at this point in and around the Clewiston area. So excellent news there as we continue to see that particular part of the cell dwindle down. And that will be the case by 8 o'clock. Conditions nice and quiet across Lake Okeechobee. And then heading into tomorrow, let's take a closer look. A little bit more cloud cover expected. We'll kick off the day with some isolated downpours in the mix. So we'll call for isolated showers and storms both the morning heading into the afternoon that flow generally, though, out of the south and west. But then looking ahead to the evening hours, I do suspect we're going to be dealing with some action. Bit more activity forecast tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening compared to today along the coast. And the reason being is we'll start to see our pattern shift a bit. And we'll really notice that as we look ahead to the weekend. So here we go. I want to help you plan out your weekend. Those rain chances going up to 70%, both Saturday into Sunday. As of right now, Saturday morning looks to be like the drier time frame, but we will continue to fine tune that as our data gets updated. So as new data arrive, we will continue to pinpoint that forecast. But right here around 4:30 on your Saturday afternoon, there you go. Widespread rain and storms, a possibility. Same story as we look ahead to your Sunday. It won't be an entire washout. Looks like the morning will be the drier time frame, but then in the afternoon and the evening, that's when those storms are expected to be fairly widespread. So just want to give you that heads up. Rain chances, again, going up to 70% both Saturday and Sunday, 60% Monday into Tuesday. Quick check on the tropics. There's one wave of energy that we are expecting to roll off the coast of Africa. 20% chance of further development over the next week. Plenty of time to monitor. Nothing that we need to worry about just yet. Do not get into some of those long-range models that you might see posted on social media. You want to make sure you trust us here at Fox 4 as we receive new data and keep you updated. Meanwhile, for us, just make sure you have that rain gear handy over the weekend.
Katie reminding you that Fox 4 is the trusted source. Thank you so much, Katie.
And of course, the rain's going to come on Father's Day weekend when it's been clear and hot all week. But of course, we can take that relief. We'll see you in a little bit. We'll be right back.
Well, tonight we continue our coverage of Alzheimer's and dementia awareness by asking a really tough question, and that is, when is it time?
This is a hard question for families, as in, when do you, as a caregiver, need additional help to care for your loved one? Fox 4's Lisa Greenberg helps us answer that question in tonight's Your Healthy Family.
Dealing with an Alzheimer's diagnosis is tough, and knowing what to do next can be just as difficult. It's Alzheimer's and Brain Awareness Month, and in today's Your Healthy Family, I'm talking to an in-home care agency about when it's time for you to consider outside care for a loved one with dementia.
Caring for a loved one with Alzheimer's or dementia is extremely difficult, and if you're the primary caregiver, it can be even more tough.
Oftentimes, if we see our loved one all the time, we can either ignore or not fully recognize or have a little bit of denial of the situation and what it really is.
It's why Susan Nimnuin, the vice president of Bright Star Care in Fort Myers and Naples, says it's important to bring in an outside perspective.
Bringing a professional in who's been through training, who has experience to notice, that's a little more serious. That's something we need to put a focus on. Can really be helpful to everybody.
So, when is it time to consider other care options?
It's never too early to start educating yourself and your loved ones on the options that are out there when it comes to senior care or aging in place. However, many of us wait to the last minute. I get phone calls all the time, and it's, my loved one's been having falls for a while, or my loved one had a series of mini strokes and now they're looking at care. And really, the sooner you get someone involved, even if it's just a little bit, can be so much.
What are tangible things that I can pick up on that make me realize, okay, the situation with my loved one at home is a bit more than I can handle, and it's time to get the gears in motion to get them help?
Absolutely. Starting to look around in the home when you're there. You know, are they on medication and that's disorganized? Is there expired food in the refrigerator? Is the mail starting to pile up? Does the home look more cluttered or disheveled than it normally does? Those would be great indicators to start with.
And when checking their medicine box, she says make sure they're actually remembering to take their medications.
Also, looking at your loved one, are they tending to isolate more, or are they still as social as they once were? Those are good indicators that something has changed.
Nimnuin also tells me poor or unsafe judgment can be another sign. What are examples of what that can look like as a sign?
Are they forgetting to pay their bills? You know, are they forgetting to bathe, or they're not bathing as frequently as they once used to? Are they going out and they're unable to return home safely? Are they getting lost or confused?
Very important to pick up on those things. For Your Healthy Family, I'm Lisa Greenberg, and coming up in tomorrow's Your Healthy Family, the questions you need to ask when considering outside care for your loved one with dementia.
Such good information. Thank you so much, Lisa. Well, still to come tonight on Fox 4 News at 10, we have the latest developments after a shooting in Fort Myers leaves one person in custody.
Yeah, we have been covering this as breaking news. Fort Myers police tells us a man was shot and at least one other person has been detained here. So we're going to have the latest for you again tonight on Fox 4 News at 10. We were also tracking to that crash that's happening right now on I-75. So if you have loved ones who take I-75, just know they have some major backups right there near Corkscrew Road in between the RSW and Corkscrew Road exit.
Not to mention, you can go to our website, fox4now.com, for the latest on traffic. And what's interesting is we just learned of another crash on I-75 as well. So be careful when you're out driving. And of course, with these feels-like temperatures, are you going to tell them?
Drink some water.
Stay hydrated, Southwest Florida. We'll see you at 10.
See you at 10.
Bye-bye.
Live from Fox 4, this is breaking news.
And thank you for trusting us here at Fox 4 News at 6. I'm Shari Armstrong.
And I'm Nadine Yanis. We are tracking breaking news across Southwest Florida with a major backup bringing I-75 to a standstill right at the peak of rush hour.
And just into the Fox 4 newsroom, Fort Myers police are investigating a shooting.
So we want to take a look at your screen here. This is on Burnwood Place Drive. Officers are on the scene of the shooting investigation. Here's what we know so far. We are going to go ahead and take a live look now at the Burnwood Trace Apartments. You can see that there's a crime scene tape here at the apartments that you're going to see right now. What we know from Fort Myers police is they are confirming that an adult male was shot and one person has been in custody. Now, for some reference here, Burnwood Place Apartments is right off of 6 Mile Cypress. It's down the road from the shops at Village Walk, which is also near Winkler Avenue. You can see this is a gated area, and through those gates, you can see that crime scene tape that is still there. We also have pictures that are coming in from a viewer of this scene. That viewer calling us here at Fox 4, Don Connors. It really gives you an idea of the scene that you're going to see inside the community. These are the pictures from that viewer. Now, as you know, Fox 4 is working to find out more details right now from the Fort Myers Police Department. Again, a shooting at the Burnwood Place Apartments in Fort Myers. We're going to stay on top of this for you on fox4now.com. Also breaking tonight, we're watching this, a massive backup on I-75 southbound. You're getting a look at live video from FDOT.
Yeah, so this area we're talking about is southbound again, just before mile marker 125. We were trying to paint a picture as to where exactly this is. This is between RSW and Corkscrew. It's been this way for quite some time. The left lane has been blocked for almost a half an hour now. So if you have someone you know who takes this on the way home, know that it's going to take some time to get traffic flowing again. As you can see here, we're going to keep you updated on the scene throughout the course of the show, Nadine.
And Jashari, just so you know, this is about 3 miles north of Corkscrew Road. So this is in between RSW and Corkscrew Road. And so we know that this is going to take a long time before things open back up slowly but surely there. Also tonight, Charlotte County Public Schools has a new superintendent, and Fox 4 has learned he is coming into the next school year with a new Guardian program. This will allow the district to hire armed guards. This is a program that other Southwest Florida districts have in place. Let's go ahead and bring in Fox 4's Caitlin Knapp joining us live in studio tonight, sitting down with the new superintendent, talking his top priorities tonight, Caitlin.
Yeah, a lot of priorities for Mark Vianello, who worked in Marion County most recently. He told me today one of his top priorities is school safety, where I also learned this new superintendent comes with a new Guardian program that they passed on Tuesday. Though we don't know the framework of the program, we do know what Vianello hopes to accomplish in the new role.
I'm not coming in here to make a lot of changes. I'm coming in here to build upon the success of really an outstanding school system.
The mindset for Mark Vianello as he finishes his second day with Charlotte County Public Schools as the new superintendent.
In any position that you're in, you want to make a difference.
A difference?
Safety matters most.
Starting with the big change. The Guardian program, approved Tuesday by the school board. In the district's new policy, they can hire armed guards that will solely serve as just that.
And that is a tool that can help keep our students and our employees and our visitors to our schools safe.
Vianello also says he wants to focus on student investment after graduation, aligning schools' programs with the workforce, and academic achievement.
It's them leaving with a well-thought-out, coordinated plan of what's next for them.
Though Vianello knows it also comes back to teachers as the district works to fill 70 vacancies.
We have to continue to be innovative and work with outside companies that can help us have job fairs.
The new superintendent is already hitting the ground running.